Am I good? Mic is on. Wow, it's warm enough for California, I guess. So yeah, I'm really here to say good morning. I think it's the first day in this nice building. I heard somebody's from Germany because I'm originally German. Makes me feel much better now. But yeah, I mean, this is precisely where Bob was going. We're actually really happy to host. Happy you guys have you here. Mhm. Actually, when I put this together, I said, okay, let me check out what happened to be in this place. Used to be a pear orchard till 54 years ago when Intel bought property. It used to be much bigger. I think just part of it got sold off, but that's what it used to be. For most people that are not from this area, always pears and oranges at some point. Yeah, we're very happy to sponsor. I left this little hex thing in there, so I had to put the binary version. Couldn't stop myself. And so yeah, then kudos to Bob, but kudos Jamal to you and your whole organizing team for the agenda. It's fun. Let me just say it that way. A couple of items, and please don't expect from me. I'm very opinionated because I'm German, but I'm not going to go into the technical deep dive here. I do want to make a couple comments because it's really actually exciting times. And part of it is people that might know me. I have a long networking background. Networking was always just like, hey, it's hardware is over, it's all software, back to silicon. It's kind of an interesting thing, and then obviously the last 3 years are truly a roller coaster because networking is cool again, and and to me that is because it's a distributed system problem, and like everything in this is a distributed system problem. And then the other one, which I made this comment a couple of times in the past because most of you probably know the initial quote: "Network is a computer." Somewhere made here in the Silicon Valley. And then I half jokingly 3 years or 4 years ago said the network is a cloud. And there's another person said software eats everything, and I think AI eats everything at this point, right? For good or for bad, right? We can have a long debate over that. But clearly, and I'm not here to say the last one because I think there's a lot of buzz and hype that is not real. Let me put it this way. But what it really does it's challenging us as engineers to rethink what we thought is good enough and works well enough, how to adjust and improve. And so it always helps when there's this big push, and I'm probably preaching to the choir. But there are incredible opportunities, and you have probably seen it, and I'm gonna make the point again. A lot of opportunities leveraging the developer community and leveraging what is available in the open source world. Is we truly believe, and I say this from my past experience speaking for Intel, we truly believe that is what actually allows us to move much faster and moves across multiple companies and industries instead of being close. Quite frankly, let me put it this way. So incredible opportunities, and actually you're relying on the community. Right. Go the other way. A couple items obviously I want to point out, and Bob reminded me, Thomas, make sure we talk about this. Is really we're committed to Linux, we're committed to open source as a company. We're long-term contributors. I think you guys all know this. To the kernel and kernel technologies, we're truly focused on leading with open source. That's the motion we have for a variety of reasons. We're really promoting Linux kernel. And we're really looking at a lot of open source initiatives. And I put a couple of the pictures on the bottom because some of them I'm personally involved, some of them the team I'm working with involved. Really a strong push from our end in this area. And quite frankly, I mean, as you guys all know, it's really, that's the best way to go, because if you want to enable companies, customers across the board, that's the best way to go. And so just want to put it out there. This for us it's a beautiful way to host and working in that area. A couple other items I do want to touch on. And probably I put the two letters on the first slide, which I try to avoid. And the only reason I really put it here, because I do think, as I said, it really what the nice thing about it is what happened the last 3 years. It just questions a lot of the assumption, it stretches what can be done with networking and just pushes for improvements on both the computer networking side. And one of the items which is, it hit me, I don't know, like a year ago when talking to some of our very large cloud customers. We always lived in that assumption world that build outs happen whenever you do a new design, your new build out happens every 3 to 5 years. That's a very typical cycle in the data center world. That changed to 1 to 2 years. And it's primarily driven, it's a longer term issue then. It's not so much driven by TCO, it's just capabilities improve that fast on the compute side, on the GPU side, that it just drives refresh of architectures, which is actually an opportunity, because if you think through what that means, some of the ideas that we're working on in terms of technologies, how fast they actually can get into production environment at scale, that's an opportunity to actually do this much faster than it used to be. In the older world, and I date myself a little bit, you have to wait, right? It's great architecture is working on, but it didn't see the light of a real production environment for a while. That is different at this point. So a couple other items I do want to touch on. Clearly, Ethernet and reliable transport, and I know it's on the agenda. That's why I love the agenda when I look through this. I wish I could actually spend the whole week on it. Great topics. I think some of you were in the sessions on Monday and Tuesday around Falcon, which is a great idea on make Ethernet reliable. Obviously, there's a whole parallel effort going on in the UEC. And what is interesting for me, and as I mentioned, I'm coming out of the networking world, these are two really interesting approaches going after this. How to help the application, right? And there's one way saying, hey, we're going to deal with losslessness in the networking layer, and there's the other one we're dealing with losslessness or reliability one layer up or two layers up, and actually dealing with lossy fabrics. And I think both of these are really valid. And if you go talk to operators, you will get different opinions. If you talk to a network operator, you're saying, hey, if I don't have to deal with losslessness in the network and just deal with, I can keep my network as is, being lossy, and everything else is taken care of somewhere else, which Falcon not. Awesome, right? And then also you have other camps saying, hey, if we can balance and operate on both sides, it's an interesting approach as well. The reason I bring this up, because I see this playing out, and I think most of you seeing this too. These different approaches is we're kind of converging. We're learning from both sides what's best, fusing on both ends, and I think they will move into large scale production actually within 12 months. One of them is, the other one will. Other topics that are really interesting in this world is congestion control. I think we're on this for a while. What's interesting, at least to me in this space, and I think this is what I'm challenging teams in Intel as well as obviously I think you guys are working on, is we have a real opportunity actually to not just make this much more dynamic, but we also have an opportunity to actually put some of this power into our customers' hands to let them actually figure out and tune, to put the right framework in place, actually how to optimize. Another interesting topic in this whole area, and I know there are a bunch of presentations going on and papers, is around scale out and scale up. I probably should ask the question, everybody familiar with the two terms? Raise of hands, if not some. The reason I'm asking is when I came from the hardcore network switching world into the endpoint world, these two terms were not used on the switching side. Switching guys would call us back-end and front-end networks. And then if you talk to CPU and GPU people, they call, oh yeah, they have scale out, they have scale up, and then there's front-end. I'm like, okay, what the hell is that? So the reason I put it up here is the intense discussion, right? So maybe just to put names on, scale up, the easy ways to think about is that what NVLink does today in the NVIDIA world. Scale out is what InfiniBand does today in the NVIDIA world. Scale out for sure is going to move, which is what you see above there, if I can use into Ethernet. Scale up is the whole industry and standardization effort started off probably 3 months ago, trying to figure out how to do this. And I'm not here to argue which one is better and wins. What is interesting to me in this space is it's going to be long discussion depending on what system we're trying to build and how do we trying to scale in general. How big is the scale up domain versus the scale out domain? That's one discussion. There are clearly different requirements, what you need to do. But it's the advantage of having flexibility to use similar baseline technologies you can easily shift back and forth in terms of I/O. So a lot of interesting research in this space, or less work going on in the space, figure this out. And again, I don't think there's a clear answer, but a lot of good work. The next one is, which again, I saw on the agenda. That's why thanks to the team for having a really, really exciting agenda. A lot of good work that customers are driving, Intel is engaged, and I say, and a lot of other people are looking at this and saying, can we use TCP and optimize it so we have a better way to go after collective communication semantics? Can we use that? And this is like the whole, I think Ethernet is ever, always surprising. We think, oh, Ethernet is done. It's not. There's always more coming, and how to build on this. And then the last one, which is very, very important, I think, in this space, and I hope we're going to have a little bit more discussion on this at the fireside chat later today, which I'm actually really excited about, is around security. And I put a term here, but it's not just crypto and encryption. I think there's a general discussion to be had in the world of AI. There's a lot about data, training models, and then using models. How do I make sure I have a good tracking of what data went in? The data is not polluted, somewhere in the middle, and have control over that. So I think there's not just the encryption piece, there's a larger area, I think, where there's a lot of good work that needs to happen. But that's a particular one. Why I think this is actually really interesting is because it leans on a lot of the experience that we have with encryption, different technologies today, and trying to figure out how to adjust this and take the best and actually map it into what is needed for these type of workloads. So maybe just sum it up. Number one, I really think this is a great opportunity, and I'm not talking about AI being AI. Just think about AI being a workload, a very challenging workload. It's a great opportunity to actually innovate across the stack. Second one is the first time I have seen in my 25 years, something goes into production within a year or two. If you innovate, normally it takes 3+ years to get there, which is actually exciting for everyone that works and stuff. You actually see the outcome much, much faster. And then, there's literally, it's not just one area, there's a lot of different areas. And, you see this on the agenda, which is really exciting, at least. So with that, I have one last slide because we realized it's the first day, but, it's basically in the middle. 3 more days to go. And I realized that when I came, as I said, I'm the German, not the only one in the room. When I came in the first time, I heard it was like, what the hell is this? This is an American term for everyone that is not American. This means you're in the middle of the conference. That's all. With that, again, I hope this is going to be fun for the next 3 days. And I'm going to get back to you, Jamal.